Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Look, I gotta welcome you all to the show. Welcome my special guests, my special listeners. Thank everybody that's a part of the show. Sonera Smith, A-Tone Productions, Sister Pebbles, High Frequency, just a host of others. What's up, Brother Abdul? Look, man, it don't stop. We have another... Well, just bear with me while we take care of business, because this is ridiculous. Now, check this out, right? Y'all just follow me here. This was in New Caney, Texas, right? An elderly man waiting for his stimulus check had it stolen from his mailbox, but fortunately, it is back where it belongs. Deputies say the stolen check was discovered on a suspect walking through the Peach Creek Forest neighborhood in New Caney around 10 p.m. That's New Caney, Texas, right? When Montgomery County Precinct 4 deputies searched 23-year-old Jason Corey Dunn, they say they found methamphetamine and 2 checks that did not belong to him. One of those checks was from Lone Star College, and the other was a $1,200 federal stimulus check. Dunn apparently told deputies the federal check belonged to his cousin, so deputies went to the address on the check and found it really belonged to an elderly gentleman who has been patiently waiting for that money to arrive. And this was a white gentleman. He was on methamphetamine. They found drugs on him. He lied to the police, right? And he had 2 checks in his pocket that didn't belong to him, but yet he lives. He's not dead. They didn't kill him. He's not murdered. You mean to tell me you can steal 2 checks and be on methamphetamines and be alive? No, I'm appalled. I'm confused. I don't know how that happens. You know, they didn't kill him. The police officers let him go. They arrested him. They let him get up. They let him leave there from in front of them. Let him leave from in front of their faces alive. What does this say about justice? You know. Now, let's go on. Let's go on, because it's more to this. Now, there's 4 Minnesota police officers, right, who killed a black man for forging a check, right? But I want to show you where it gets tricky, right, as I gather this information. Because I want to show you how we get fooled all the time, and how they fool us all the time, and how we need to be aware of things such as this, because this can't go on. This can't go on. Now, check this out. Then I'll get more into the case, but I just want to show you the error and how this thing would never be solved if we use these terminologies, because words are everything, right? It says that. It says, I'm almost right there. Bear with me, I gotta find it. Bam, here it goes right here. Speaking to U.S. media on Tuesday, Chief Arredondo said the force's policy, and I got this in quotations to let you know, this is him, they're quoting him, regarding placing someone under control will be reviewed as part of the probe, because they're probing in the way they're handling things. But listen to the terminology. I'm going to read it again. This is terminology. Speaking to U.S. media on Tuesday, Chief Arredondo said the force's The force's policies regarding placing someone under control will be reviewed as part of the probe. Now, what do you mean placing someone under control? Who's the judge of that? How can you place someone under control? The proper word here should have been placing someone under arrest, because when you're under arrest, you're handcuffed, you're subdued, and you pose no threat because you're arrested. That's it. Now, under control, that will deem by whose judgment. Under control, for one, the definition of being under control can differ depending on the individual. You can have someone in handcuffs, but yet he's screaming and yelling, and to a racist mind, that's not under control. I got to put a bullet in you, and once you stiff and you're not moving, you're under control. Under control to a racist is, yeah, I know you're in handcuffs, but you're on the ground, and I can step away. I can step 6 feet away from you. I can step 10 feet away from you. But yet you're handcuffed. You're on the ground, but you're kicking your legs in the air. That's not being under control. So I got to put a bullet in you so you can stop kicking. Now you're under control. See, you got to watch how the terminology, how you word things when dealing with racists, because they'll interpret that a totally different way. They'll say, well, look here, police chief, we're discussing how do you get someone under control. And by my view, being under control is when you're laying there stiff. Now you're under control. So you have to watch these terminologies, right? Now, proper term, again, should have been when someone is subdued. They're arrested. They can't move. They're in handcuffs. Even though, they can move, they might roll around, they might yell, they might be breathing hard, they might be crying, they might be upset, they might be swearing, right? But yet they pose no harm because they're handcuffed, so they can't move, right? Okay, let's get into this, right? This is ridiculous. I'm calling on the spirit, Minnesota, the spirit of Prince. Your energy is tied to the city of Minnesota. Hunt these four devils. Hunt these four devils that killed this black man in your city, right? 4 Minnesota cops fired after death of unarmed black man. Now, before we get started, how many times have we heard that? On unarmed black man. Unarmed black man. Unarmed black man. You hear it all the time. Minnesota Police Chief Madaria Arredondo said the 4 officers were now former employees. Footage shows the man, George Floyd, groaning and repeatedly saying, "I can't breathe," to the white officers. This is BBC News. The incident echoed that of Eric Garner, a black man who died being arrested in New York City in 2014. Before I go on, I just want to say this. You got to understand. With Eric Garner and with George Floyd, one thing you got to realize, see these racist cops, right? One thing you got to understand is when they choke a black man out, they have an orgasm. They live it. We as black people in our mind, we're wondering, how can you do people like this, right? No, they literally get off to doing acts such as this. While that man was on the ground, that cop had his knee in his neck, and every time he said, "I can't breathe," it turned him on. He loved it. He was salivating at the mouth. He was in a zone. He was having an orgasm. He loved it. And there was nothing you can do. Try to pull him off that man's neck, he'd have killed you. You couldn't interrupt him. He was having his moment. Sick, mixed up individuals that are policing the community. The FBI said it will investigate the Minneapolis incident, which took place on Monday evening. Minnesota police said Mr. Floyd died after a medical incident in a police interaction. They said he had been suspected of committing forgery. Supposedly he forged a check. Black men in America, anything. See, this is how it goes. Man forged a check. Call the police. They get the description, black male. And that radar kicks off with these white racists. Some of these racist cops, that radar kicks in, it goes off, and they can't wait to get their hands on you. Because in their mind, they think it's still slavery. They saying 13th Amendment. The slaves are free except they be committed of a crime. They want to be trial. They want to be the judge. They want to be the jury right there on the spot. They flying to the scene to get a hold to you because they want to kill you, you know. And it's apparent. Look how many is dying for simple stuff. Forgery, when you got a white dude in New Caney, they found drugs on him. He lied to the police and had two stolen checks. And all they did was arrest him. Yeah. Then they come back and say that Mr. Floyd died after a medical incident. Meaning the man died, he choked him to death. You gotta watch some terminologies. On Tuesday afternoon, Mayor Jacob Fry confirmed the 4 officers involved in the incident had been terminated. This is the right call, he tweeted. At a press conference earlier, Mr. Fry had described the incident as completely and utterly messed up. I believe what I saw and what I saw is wrong on every level, he said. Being black in America should not be a death sentence. This is coming from the mayor. He's saying in Minneapolis, being black in America shouldn't be a death sentence. See, watch them terminology. It shouldn't be. You know, that's that forked tongue. It shouldn't. That's that double talk. Being black in America shouldn't be a death sentence. But it is. Right? Okay. It is the latest accusation, even though we got facts and we see it with our own eyes, but it is the latest accusation of U.S. police brutality against African Americans. The proof is there. There's no accusations. We see it with our own eyes, but terminology. Recent high-profile cases include an officer in Maryland who fatally shot a man inside a patrol car. Breonna Taylor and shoot her in her house. My brother in Dallas, shoot him in his house while eating ice cream. We don't even have enough time on the show to run down all the many victims. The incident in Minneapolis began after officers located the man in his car, police said in a statement. They were told the man, who has not been identified, was sitting on top of a blue car and appeared to be under the influence. Now, why? See, we're getting to that now. I had a white female police officer pull me over, right? And she said, "Are you drunk?" I'm like, "Nah." She said, "Are you high?" I'm like, "Nah." I said, "Just a little sleepy, a little tired." But you don't mean she don't know me. She don't know who I am. In her mind, she's judging me that I appear to be under some influence. By whose standards? You asked, I told you no. Let's say you want to get the breathalyzer, get the breathalyzer. But I haven't been drinking, I'm not on any drugs. I'm just tired. But she's saying, but they'll use that. Well, from my point of view, the person looked under the influence. But the thing about it is they need to check your psyche and see how many times you've been wrong. Look, you're going to take the word of a psychopath. These are psychopathic killers in uniforms. Come on, let's continue. In a 10-minute video filmed by a witness, the man is kept on the ground by the officer and at one point says, "Don't kill me." Now, this is what Mr. Floyd is saying. He's on the ground. He's telling the police officer because you see, look, when you in the middle of something and all that adrenaline is going and that energy is right there, you can look into that person's eyes and your inner self, your spirit will let you know that this person is trying to kill you. So he's trying to plead with the man because he knows this is premeditated. This is premeditated. He knows. He even tells the man. He pleads with him. He gives a command. But what the Bible say, ask and ye shall receive. Please don't kill me. But you dealing with a psychopathic racist cop. He's there to kill you. That's what he wants to do. He's getting off. He's having an orgasm. Man, tell him, please don't kill me. Witnesses urged the officer to take his knee off the man's neck, but he couldn't. He was in a zone. He was getting off. He couldn't hear nothing around him. He was having his moment. Nothing that he off the man's neck. Nothing that he was not moving. One says, his nose is bleeding, while another pleads, get off his neck. The man then appeared motionless before he is put on a stretcher and into an ambulance. That man sat there, with his knee in this black man's neck, getting off until the man was dead. And once he felt that man wasn't breathing and he was dead and he couldn't get that energy and his excitement off, that's when he got off his neck. Okay, it was over with. I can't get no more out of this one. He's dead. Move me on to the next victim. After the video emerged, police said in a statement, as additional information has been made available, it has been determined that the Federal Bureau of Investigation will be a part of this investigation. Speaking to the U.S. media on Tuesday, Chief Arredondo said the force's policies regarding placing someone under control will be reviewed as part of the probe. Wow. Placing someone under control. What is that? That's so broad. Under control by whose definition? By whose judgment? What is under control to you? Is under control to you is the man is handcuffed behind his back. He's sitting on the curb, but yet he's using profanity. You got to quieten him up, and once you reach that level of control, then you're satisfied. Come on, man. Come on. In a statement, a spokesperson for the FBI Minneapolis division said the agency's investigation will focus on whether the police officers involved willfully deprived the individual of a right of privilege protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. Wow. Whether he willfully deprived the individual of a right or privilege, right? A right or a privilege protected by the Constitution, meaning your rights is not, is it a right or is it a privilege? If it's a privilege to be protected under the Constitution or the laws of the U.S., then what determines who shall receive that privilege? You know, is it once the cops swear into duty? Is he the all-seeing God, and is he the one that determines who is privileged to be protected and not? Terminology, wording, you got to look at all that. Privilege. I'm paying the tax dollars. I'm a human being. I have a right to exist. But yet you're saying under the Constitution, I have to deem myself as privileged in order to receive that protection. Privileged by who? By who's standing? What is the measuring tool you're using to determine what privilege is? How can you sway? It doesn't make sense. And you can't say willfully deprive the individual of a right. Is it a right or a privilege protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States? Meaning, is my protection, or do I have the right to be protected, or is it a privilege for me being protected? You gotta look into all that. When completed, the agency will present its findings to the Minnesota State's Attorney for possible federal charges. For possible federal charges. See, I've been reading this for a minute, and they ain't said nothing yet. Give you a little bit, take it away. Give a little bit, take it away. Give it a little bit, take it away to where you don't even know what you got. That's how the game is played, man. That's how the game is played. When completed, the agency will present its findings to the Minnesota State's Attorney for possible federal charges. The Minnesota BCA, which investigates most in custody deaths, will continue to conduct its own investigation, focusing on possible violations of state laws. And see, well, let me get this straight. Let me explain something to you all. Black people, or Moors, or Aswad, or Adams, who are the original man and woman of the planet Earth, who been here longer on the planet than the Caucasian, don't digest or do things the same way the Caucasian does things. Don't view things the same way the Caucasian does things. And so that's why we have these incidents on perception. See, by black people being on the planet first, and we come directly straight forth from the God, then we're looking for fair and just treatment simply because the universe and nature is fair and just. But a rabbit-minded man don't perceive life that way. All he sees is his hate, his angers, his misfortunes, and what he don't like. And he needs to take that out on the scapegoat. So there's two different mindsets at play here. And that's why these situations keep happening. And that's why people be telling black folks, well, if y'all tired of all the police brutality, why don't y'all just fight back, take to the streets and get your weapons and just deal with it. We not made up that way. That's not who we are. We don't have no black militia army coming to our rescue. Only thing we got that's strong enough, that strengthens the mind to where we can think and think uprightly, is the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We got that. We got the spirit of our ancestors. We got the fact knowing that the Son of Man, the God, is a man that walks on this earth. And we got the fact that we can send our thoughts in this universe and our prayers and our cries, hoping that the universal God come intercede and deal with it, but physically, personally on this planet. It ain't happening. Who coming to our rescue? Who gonna come to this man rescue? You think a Justice Department coming to this man rescue who just simply said that, is it a right or a privilege? If it's a privilege, who determines who gets that privilege, and who determines if that person deserves the privilege of the protection? What standard does he have to meet? He supposedly forged a check. Does that move him out the privilege range when you got a white guy in New Caney, Texas, who had 2 stolen checks and drugs on him and still lived, and had the right to be in front of a judge. Come on, man. Check this out. Justice must be served for this man and his family. Justice must be served for our community. Justice must be served for our country. Right? And that's coming from Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, who has reportedly been shortlisted as Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden's running mate, issued a statement calling for a complete and thorough outside investigation. Now, this Joe Biden running mate, Amy Klobuchar, she's saying justice, it must be served. You get it? Not that we're confident that it will be served. She didn't say that in regarding to the untimely and unjust killing of Mr. Floyd, justice will be served. No, it must be served. And yes, it must be served. You know, it should be served. It needs to be served. Because if it's not served, that's just another clink, another chink, another crack in the psyche of, not in particular, black people in America, but as a whole of everyone who claims to be an American. I Can't Breathe became a national rallying cry against police brutality in the U.S. after the July 2014 death of Eric Gardner. Gardner, an unarmed black man, uttered the phrase 11 times after being detained by police on suspicion of illegally selling loose cigarettes. I can't breathe 11 times under suspicion of selling loose cigarettes. What? Black man, you on the corner selling loose cigarettes? That's a death sentence. Kill him. Yeah, that's that's that sick mentality. Give you another example. It was telling me about the case in Central Park where a white woman walking her dog not on the leash. Black man goes up to her, man, we're not supposed to be in this park without your dog being on a leash. She points his finger at him and gets on the phone and saying a black man is out there attacking her. Luckily, he filmed it. Right? To show how sick that mindset is. Because she knew what she was doing. Wait a minute. Because I'm a white woman and a black man is attacking me. Hurry up. Get to Central Park and kill this nigga. And the racist white cops, they know they code. They flying down there. They foaming from the mouth. Eyes red. And on their mind is when I get there, I'm going to kill that nigga. You attacking a white woman. Luckily, he filmed it to show that she's just deranged. She's crazy. And she's a psychopath. A city medical examiner ruled the chokehold contributed to Gardner's death. The New York City police officer involved in Gardner's deadly arrest was fired from the police force more than 5 years later, in August of 2019. It was the final words of the 43-year-old Eric Gardner, who died after a police officer placed him in a chokehold. Really, it was an illegal chokehold. But they left that out. They just said chokehold. Because they don't want to, they got to, the goddamn, it's sickening how they want to police, how they want to sell a spotless image when pertaining to the colonizer, whatever you want to call them. How they want to create this spotless record, although their character shows that they are psychopaths. Look at the little killer that killed two up in Connecticut. He's on a run. And this little killer, he packed up guns and backpacks and hiking and food. And he knew he's going to kill. He stole a little black Jetta. They looking for him now. And he knows, like, look, I'm finna kill me somebody. I'm gonna be on the run for a little bit, so I gotta make sure I got my guns. I gotta make sure I got me something to eat. I gotta make sure I got my sleeping bag because I gotta sleep in the woods. I'm prepared and ready. Little sickos. Just like Dylan Roof. Little sickos, man. And I understand. I understand. I don't like it. But when you put it like this, when you're up front or you're out in front and you want to perceive an image, a false image, because deep down you know that the image that you're setting out in a public view is false, then you're on damage control, you're on a PR campaign 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right, because you constantly gotta put it in a certain context that leaves wonder. Well, maybe they didn't try to do it, Maybe, you know what I mean? Because the little killer up in Connecticut who shot the two people said he was a straight A student and whatnot, right? They're already coming up with it. What his family says, something to the effect that he said he sought out mental health therapy, right? Meaning he might not. He sought it out. He could have Googled a couple of times on his phone. Could have flipped through the yellow white page looking for a therapist. But the way they got to put it out is he sought out help. That he was dealing with mental issues, and he sought out help. Several times. Yeah, right. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Come on. Because they got to, they're already trying to clean it up. Because whenever they do something horrific. Well, he was having a bad day and mental issues. He was a disturbed person. Please, everybody knows that. They tired of it. That's played out too. But you can continue to do it because black people in America, what we gonna do? Who coming to our rescue and our aid? We can point the finger at it. We can be aware of it. We can even let society know. Look, I don't know who you think you're fooling, but I see it. But if you want to continue to go on and pretend that you don't see it, that's okay. That's your prerogative. Do that, but we see it. It's just the fact that, it's going to take the Son of Man, God in the flesh, to deal with the situation. Because what they say, I heard your cries and your moans, your groans. All we can do, man, is cry, moan, and groan to the God and say, look how we being treated down here on the earth. We your firstborn. We been here the longest. We brought knowledge to the planet. We brought mathematics. We brought religion. We eat hell. There'll be no other races on the planet if it wasn't for us. And we gotta go through all this. Meaning we gotta visualize and see these images and see this sick, racist demon with his grafted, nasty knee on this black man's neck. We gotta look at that. Hey, man, let me get off this. Verbal Prick Radio, we out.